Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out Hyunjin's new song that dropped, Hey You, and I am checking this out rather impulsively because I have so much Stray Kids stuff to catch up on because I promised I'd make videos about it and then I didn't, and I'm sorry, but I thought we would check out this song just because I wanna, you know? I don't have any other reason other than it's new and I want to check it out. And it looks like it's an all-English track, which is very exciting, so we're just gonna go in and listen to this song. It's a little bit easier because there's not gonna be an actual MV, so we're gonna check it out. I don't have any context for what this song is about, going in blind with it because again, so behind on Stray Kids stuff. I'm gonna not let it stress me out though, so let's check out the song. Also, can we agree that him in glasses is not fair? Like this whole college student look that he has going on, not fair, not fair. Ooh, I noticed that the picture had like a retro kind of filter to it. Sonically, it seems to fit with that a little bit.
Hey you, yes you. How did you make me fall in love with you? Hey
Excuse me?
you, yes you. At first sight, at first sight, at first sight, at first sight.
Oh, okay. Super interesting. Like his voice is super soft in this. Hyunjin has so much character in his vocals, whether he's doing something more like rap or vocals, that I just find it fascinating. Like there's so much character and texture to the way that he uses his voice and plays around with it that it's always really fun to see what he's gonna do with his vocal performance. But this one just has a ton of ambience to it. It feels like it has an environment to it. Also, is this one of his paintings? I don't know. Not to get distracted immediately, but the production on this song has an environment to it. There's all these little synth things going on, filters, but then at one point it was like just the piano keys and there was tons of breathing room in between those keys. So far really interesting from a production standpoint, and you have these repeated lyrics that add into this feeling of like ambience to the whole thing.
At first sight,
It almost sounds like a clock too.
at first sight. Can we walk?
Ooh, the acoustic guitar.
Can we talk? And maybe love your eyes. And if you don't know love, I'll make the best of us. And if you know so much, why don't you give me love? Can we love? Can we love?
Ooh, I love the like layers to it where he has this like lower vocal and then this much higher vocal layered on top of it. The production in it has almost this like ticking clock sound, which I think is interesting. Maybe it's because given the lyrics where it's wanting this person to fall in love with you back, it almost feels like impatience or waiting, hearing the minutes, the seconds tick by and kind of being impatient about it because you want this person to feel the same way as you do or notice you in the way that you want them to. But also I think it kind of fits with this idea of walking in the lyric of like, walking around. I think fits with the feeling of this song really well because like I said, it has this ambience to it. It feels like it has this environment. It feels like you're walking around in this space that he's creating with the song, that the feeling of walking fits with the vibe of the song. I know that he had some people helping with like the production of it because I remember looking at the credits. It's not just him working on production stuff as well, but these tracks, they're very personal to the members. So it's just like, it has a really interesting feeling to it overall.
You know so much, why don't you give me love?
I think it picks up here.
Can we love? I feel a scent, it came to me as my own breath. I'll give consent to you with no other reason. Hey, I'll just fall into you, dive into your heart. Yeah, no matter what, I will give you my heart. Since you're living in the breeze that I breathe, it's okay to tell me some pain, love me. Can we
Ooh, okay. I love the way that it like kind of picked up there in this chorus, I would assume that we have with this like can we walk part that starts it off, and then everything pulling out. Again, these really interesting moments of a lot of space in the production, and him switching between having this very like light, breathy vocal and then these moments of a lot more closure, almost conversational in the way that he's delivering the vocals. The cadence of the vocal melodies kind of picks up and there's a lot more syllables in the space of time. Really interesting use of space in the song, if that makes sense. Not just in terms of leaving in that breathing room of not having vocals or cutting back a bunch of the production stuff, but this changing of pace. And I think it's interesting that we seem to have this pickup of pace when there's almost like this request, this need for this person to feel the same way, and then it kind of slows down when it becomes more introspective, like when it becomes more about his experience with being with this person or with this relationship. Everything seems to slow down a bit. It's almost like time stopping. I think there was a lyric that was like love at first sight in some way. I think he phrased it slightly differently, but that moment where everything seems to stop or still, or the rest of the world kind of fades into the background. So you have the production simplifies and it becomes very much about his experience and what he's going through. And then when the perspective shifts to what the other person feels or what he wishes the other person to feel, the production kind of crashes in a whole lot more and there's a much faster pace to the vocal delivery and the song overall. It's this shifting between those two moments of him feeling like time is slowing down or stopping because of how he's feeling, but then everything picks up and it's almost like overwhelming with this environment, this ambience of like being aware of the other person and almost having too much going on in his head when it becomes about what the other person is feeling or thinking, maybe.
To you with no other
I love how heavy the like percussion is here.
I'll just fall into you, dive into your heart. Yeah, no matter what, I will give you my heart. Since you're living in the breeze that I breathe, it's okay to sell me some pain, love me. Can we walk
I love that like sell me some pain.
and maybe share lives? Can we talk and maybe love your eyes?
There's a little vibrato in his vocals there too, it's just nice.
Don't you give me love? Can we love? Can we love?
Yeah, like he has this great like vibrato, which is like this vulnerability, like it has a like waver to his voice, which is a nice touch. A part of it's like him lightening up his vocals, but I love that sell me pain, that idea of I'm willing to put up with the pain or negativity if it means that the outcome is having this person love me. That trade-off between those two things and how they kind of go hand in hand is really interesting. Oh, what was the lyric? This one where it's like, if you don't know love, and then we have it like, and if you know so much. So these two sides of like, I don't know if this is because you've never been in love before, so you don't understand what the feeling is or like what it means to have someone feel this way about you, or if it's if you know so much, why aren't we talking about it, right? Like one of the things is like, can we talk, right? So this in between part of having feelings for someone where like you don't know if you need to say something because they're completely unaware of how you're feeling or like the hints that you're putting out, or if they are aware and they're kind of like ignoring it because they don't want to address it. Almost this idea of not wanting to ruin the relationship that you have with someone when it's platonic. So not wanting to acknowledge that there might be some kind of romantic undertone to the relationship because you don't want to complicate it in some way. It's like this in-between space between whether or not there's going to be some kind of relationship or confession or whatever, and whatever the relationship is before this, where it's platonic, and this need to have that conversation but not really knowing how to start it, how to prompt it, because you're not really sure what you're dealing with, whether or not the person is like aware or completely unaware. And as someone who is always completely unaware of whether or not someone has feelings for me, just talk, just bring it up, because you get stuck in your head about it and you ruminate and you go through it 100, 200, 1,000 times in your head instead of going through it once by just having a conversation. And for me, I would never know, never aware of what other people are thinking of me. I don't even think about it. I don't even consider. It doesn't cross my head at all. So you need to just talk about it, just in case they're as oblivious as I would be.
Don't you give me love? Can we love? Can we love?
I love this acoustic guitar that's like really far in the back of the production.
to listen. If you know so much, why don't you give me love? Can we love? Can we love? Yeah.
Oh, I love the way that the production pulled back there at the end, because it's almost like this last ditch effort, and like the way that he like really softened up his vocals. It was almost like parts of it where his voice was like almost too quiet to really be saying it, because I feel like it's almost like at the moment where you need to actually say something and there's almost this hesitation, again, like not wanting to complicate things, not wanting to be rejected, not wanting things to not work out the way that you want them to. I really like the la la la's being in there, because there is something kind of dreamy about the production of it. It's almost like daydreaming. It has that feeling of walking around and daydreaming, or being with this person and trying to act like it's normal, but like in your head you're going through like all these different things and you're like daydreaming, and like you're only kind of half present in the moment because you have all these other things going on in your head and you don't really know how to have the conversation, like start that conversation. Really cute song overall. I love just the feeling of it. The production in it just has this really interesting feeling and immersing yourself in the feeling of the song. And I really like the way that he was playing around with his vocals in it, switching from these like softer ones to these more firm closure with his vocal cords, and layering in those like lower and higher registers. And there's even a part where like when he was doing the la la la's where he shifted really far forward into his nasal cavity for like resonance, and it just added this little bit of like ping to his vocals in comparison to these very kind of middle placement, kind of breathy vocals too. So like the contrast between those two vocal tones. Overall, an interesting song, and I really like the dreamy ambient feeling of it. I actually really liked that. I think that Hyunjin did a really good job of listening you into that moment where it almost has this mundane and yet daydreamy kind of feeling to the song. And I love the contrast between these moments of like really minimal production and vocals of him like being very introspective and focusing in on what he's feeling and what he's thinking, in contrast to these moments of tons of production layers and multiple vocal layers where he's focusing more externally on the other person. And the contrast between those two moments is really cool. I feel like there's lots of little things in the production that like I can go and pick apart of just these little details and little things to like build this environment, build this scene. And I think that Hyunjin just does such a good job of like adding character into his vocals, that even with this one where it was like something more subdued in terms of his vocal delivery, there were great moments where you could see how he was like intentionally playing with the way that he was delivering things, whether that was having more of a conversational feeling to his vocals and these really like light breathy vocals. Really interesting song overall, and I like that we had the painting as the main visual for it, because I think that just kind of adds to this kind of dreamy, daydreaming, picturesque, wishing for a version of the world, or like looking at the world through these tinted lenses of wanting to see that there's something there in this relationship, even if there's like a part of him that is a little bit hesitant or a little bit scared about like what that might mean. So just overall, I feel like listening back to the song, I'm gonna find lots of little things in it that I really like. But I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can click my previous reaction to Stray Kids over here, or you can subscribe so you miss next time I post a Stray Kids reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.